Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another episode of the Bright Now podcast. We are recording this on Saturday, February 17th at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. My name is Dash, and I am the Miles Plumlee to my Robin Lopez, the guy whose biggest fetish is foreheads. TJ, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Had a solid close for the Suns' first half of the season, heading into the All-Star break now. So feeling good about most of the stuff that we did this week. Obviously, we're going to break down some of the Draymond drama and that loss to the Warriors. Then getting a W over the Kings, even with Sabonis and Fox, is absolutely feasting on us. Of course, taking care of business versus the Pistons. Then we're going to break down some team awards for the Suns this year, some more awards for the league as a whole, and then a little all-star preview as we head into the action tonight with the dunk contest and all those fun festivities. So starting it off, obviously we all know the Suns lose it to the Warriors. Steph hits quite frankly, an amazing logo three to win the game there, or to seal it. Suns still had a chance after it. But I really wanted to talk about the last 6 minutes and really the most of the game where it felt like Golden State was just attacking Yusuf Nurkic in a pick and roll. Starting with about 6 minutes left, we give up a three to Podziemski, another three by Curry, all off of Nurkic switches, and then Draymond. I know you were just geeking when you saw him make this move, his dribble, his driving left. You think he's going to hand it off and just darts right back to the rim for the layup. Well, honestly, a great move. Like definitely on the Draymond career highlight mix.
Yes.
But it just felt like they were going to Nurk every time down the floor, especially down when he got into crunch time. What do you think about that? How do you think it's going to affect us in the postseason, this game specifically? Like, what does it feel like when our center can just get pulled out and just cooked?
Yeah, so this is not a super traditional team, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, that's a big edge as to why they've won so many championships in the past, which is, playing Draymond Green at that 5 position. But I mean, I think this is honestly just like a new life that's come from the Golden State Warriors with the return of Draymond Green. I mean, you've seen them, I think they won like 11 out of their last like 13 or 14 games or something like that since he's come back. But, I mean, man, he really came with an edge right there and wasn't afraid to toe that line, even though that was the specific gentleman that got him kicked out of the league there for a second. But, I mean, it's something that we're going to have to deal with for sure. And, when we look at other teams across the league that can play that small ball lineup, that is going to be an issue. But, I mean, hey, thank God for Kevin Durant for being 7'1" and being super agile, being one of the best defenders out there in the league, it seems like. And we'll get to there. But I wasn't super nervous about this. We've had the Warriors number this whole season, it feels like. But I mean, man, just talking about the antics specifically through those two guys. You saw Nurkic hit him with the too little at that one point. Doing a little extra.
Laying
Suns
it on
guy,
a little
obviously.
bit, trying to get punched in the face. That's shit you do when you're trying to get punched in the face.
Yeah. Like if you do that at the park, like you're probably gonna get slapped or something like that. But no, Nurkic hit him with the too low and then slapped the ground and then made sure he was looking, saw he wasn't looking, and slapped the ground one more time. It was a little ridiculous. And then he tried to hit him with the classic Nurkic special where he turns around for the jumper against Draymond. Draymond just attacks him, gets to the rim. Draymond hits him with the too little. So I mean, hey, I think there's just a lot of emotions very high this game. It's not in terms of big picture. I wasn't super worried about it. Do you feel a little nervous with the small ball lineups we could potentially see?
No, I definitely feel you. Not totally nervous, and like you said, like we're 3-1 against the Warriors this season. Like, we're just not going to beat them every time. You're not going to sweep somebody in your division. That's just a very rare thing to see. So in that part, I'm not too worried about dropping this game. It still does make me worry a little bit that Nurkic can get played off the floor just because of how important he is for us as a rebounder and like an offensive, like a facilitator, really, in terms of how he can pass the ball in the short roll and things like that. But as far as like in the rest of the fourth, based on like the end of the game, you'd think that we played poorly for most of that stretch. But after like what I just broke down, like the Draymond layup and all that stuff, Booker really was a man on a mission. He had that one crazy finish where he's like bobbling the ball and flips it up for the and one. He finished with 12 points in the quarter and 32 on the game. And we had the lead with 28 seconds left. This is where it really kind of, this game specifically is bothering me. And so we're up 2 with that 28 seconds left. That's when KD gets that block on Kuminga fighting down low. And it's like the Draymond Beal, everyone's wrestling for it, turns into the jump ball. Like Beal wins the jump ball. We get it back. We're up 2 with, 3 seconds left. and that's when Gordon passes up that open three for Beal.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I would want Eric Gordon to shoot that every time it's a corner three from a 40% three-point shooter. Like, let it fly no matter what. And then he just kind of throws a grenade to Beal. And Beal, in hindsight, too, also probably could have just taken a mid-range jumper. That's kind of the time where mid-range jumpers actually are appreciated because the percentage, that's when it actually is supposed to happen. He goes for the step back, and then that's all she wrote as soon as Steph gets there. And what really
sounds
bothers
like TJ.
Yeah.
This sounds like your propaganda that you've pushed all year being anti Eric Gordon. Would you say this falls into it?
No, this definitely falls into it. Cause it's a guy that wants more touches. They're always showing his stats. Oh, it's year 16 for him, and he's putting up these numbers. Great. He also has more passes to nobody that I've ever seen. Just where it's just somebody's cutting and he just has no idea where they are. But on that final defensive possession, when we have to get a stop on, and we know it's going to Steph Curry. It's not going to anybody else when there's that little time left. And why is Eric Gordon in the game at all? Is my biggest question there. Why does Okogie or Royce O'Neal not come in at that point? And then especially, why is Bradley Beal gambling on that pass? He jumps off the dock, and it gives Steph a wide open shot. I think it was Booker that came out again and closed out from there, and he did the best that he could, but Beal's number one priority needs to be keeping him in front. Like, you have such a low chance of getting that steal, but if you can just contest it, like, there's a much better chance that he's going to miss it.
Yeah, 100%. And I have it right here in my notes right here. It says verbatim, Beal, why are you gambling on that, bro? I mean, that's like basketball 101, especially with the all-timer like Steph Curry. People like to make the joke that he's not clutch, but we've seen time and time again Steph Curry go ahead and make big-time shots like that. And I don't know if you felt the same way, TJ, but right as he let that shit go, I was like, I knew that was cash. The confidence that he walked in with.
Way too much space.
Yeah. But this wasn't like a backbreaker game for me personally. I think, things like this are going to happen. Like I said, emotions are running high. They definitely circled this game on the calendar, it felt like, especially with Draymond returning here to go against Phoenix. So, I mean, these things are going to happen. We're going to get the team's best shots at a lot of points with such high-end talent. Did you have anything else you want to add on to that Warriors game?
Yeah, just that final shot that we gave up for KD too. I know it came after we run the cross-screen action for Booker. Booker clearly gets held before the ball is inbound, so I don't know why they take off time. But then it just felt like just shit execution on that last play. No one set a real screen. Guys just run past each other, set up like they were going to, didn't execute anything, just really lollygagging through it. That play is clearly not designed for KD to catch the ball there, and he's just trying to backpedal to create any type of separation with Draymond basically giving him a bear hug. So I don't know how that's not a foul as well, but to a certain extent, hey, you can't blame him. But that part was just that part was very disheartening, just the lack of execution in that last 30 seconds. Really, it's very few times can you say that the game was won or lost in that last 30 seconds, and this feels like a clear indicator of that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And it's just like, how are we we're running back-to-back plays, the same exact like position. I mean, like I said, different players, but like it just flashed to the middle. Was that all we said in the huddle? Like, hey, guys, stand around and act like set a half-ass screen, come around to the top, and then just sprint to the middle. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What?
Exactly. There's no way that was what was drawn up. It was a terrible execution, and that's another worry for us is that the tactical side of things, we just aren't there offensively.
Yeah, because you see teams like, Coach Malone for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, he's going to make sure his guys are getting to the right spots consistently over and over. And I think even the same with Mark Dagnall. You see a lot of great fourth-quarter executions, even with a young team like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Our guy J-Dub is going to go ahead and get to his spots. They're going to set screens. SGA is going to do his role, whatever it takes. Chet's going to set that screen. And it's just I don't see the same from a veteran-heavy team such as the Phoenix Suns. And like you said, that could be a big issue that comes to bite us in the ass in the future. But ending on that note, let's go to a positive. We got the Kings versus the Suns. We go ahead and pull out 135-130. And, the biggest thing about this, of course, we love the win. And I said we're going to go into the positive. But, man, Bradley Beal comes out of the game with a non-contact hamstring injury. And everybody's saying it's optimistic, nothing serious. Coach Vogel said it's nothing serious. But as the great Ryan Russillo said, everybody's staying optimistic. It's just like a relationship, How could we ever break up? This is going to stay forever. Like, everybody's optimistic at the beginning. So, I mean, I hope these reports are right. But something that I did want to touch on was the fellas really put it together in that second half. And even winning the fourth quarter by 3 points. So, I mean, give us a little round of applause right there.
There we go.
But, I mean, man, Booker started off this game icy cold. I think he had like 2 for 7 or something like that to start us off.
I think it was 2 for 9 at one. I think we got up to 2 for 9.
I think you're right. I think it 2 for 9. But then, towards the end of that game, he was the guy that was hitting that big time jumper after jumper after jumper. 3 in a row on that right elbow, the same exact spot, just pull up, cash. And then obviously we got KD's punches. He put us up big with a few of his jumpers as well. But another big story out of this is Royce O'Neal making a fantastic first couple impressions on this team, in my opinion. I mean, we talked about it before. He seems like an upgraded version of Josh Okogie, +5 attribute on the strength and +5 attribute on the three-point shooting if we're talking in 2K terms. But I love what I saw from him. What did you see just specifically from the Suns side of this game?
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. KD and Book combining for 53. Always love to see that when those guys are on a roll. Booker with 9 assists, KD with 11 boards. And like you mentioned, Booker was just a man on a mission in that second half. Getting to the hole at ease. He was 6 for 10 in the half too, so just really efficient in that regard as well. We did, we let the lead get away from us a little bit in the fourth, but I really thought we just did an excellent job closing. Like you said, Royce O'Neal hits the big 3 with like 50 seconds left to put us up 4. And then maybe my favorite individual play from this game was that Okogie game-winning rebound that he tapped over to Grayson over Sabonis.
Yes.
It was just a mess at the end of the rim. You even saw Booker give Okogie credit when they went to the foul line on the next way down. We needed that because Sabonis was a beast in this game. He finished with 18 rebounds, and they kept that 19th away that really could have changed the game. So loved O'Neal. I know we were very concerned about Royce O'Neal and Josh Okogie stepping on each other's toes, but it seems like they may have brought the competitive edge out in each other to really go out and compete.
And I love it. And, I mean, sticking on with what you're talking about with Domantas Sabonis' 18 rebounds, I mean, we look at him having 35, 18, and 12. I mean, absolutely dominant right there. We saw from the first play of the game, TJ, I'm not sure if you saw because it was literally the first play, but Domantas Sabonis was getting posted up by Nurkic. Nurkic was trying to set the tone by just crab dribble, crab dribble, crab dribble. He had 3 crab dribbles and didn't move Sabonis 1 inch closer towards the rim. I mean, Sabonis looks a little skinny, but I guarantee you he's strong as shit out there. And he really made a mission out here today, outrunning Nurkic in a lot of those fast break opportunities, getting rebounds and just pushing the ball, making the right play, dribble handoffs. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of his game as a whole, but man, he really stepped it up. And I mean, we look at the other guy, the other all-star snub, De'Aaron Fox with 40 points, and it was ridiculous to even consider trying to stay in front of De'Aaron Fox right there because this man in the fast break was an absolute flash. We know he's Fox, he's super quick, but good God, this game was an exhibition as to showing his speed. There was a few times where he had some steals or there was a steal poke out and they pushed it out to him, and it was about even where the ball was. I think it was him and KD, and it was just in the dust. KD is so fast, got the long legs, being 7 foot, just stretching out, and just absolutely no chance. De'Aaron Fox dunk show. Were you impressed with those 2 Sacramento guys as well?
Oh, absolutely. It's still insane that they aren't all-stars. I know we talked about that on our last pod too, and you just made a video really echoing that same opinion as well. But Fox, 40 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, and 3 steals as well is just getting your hands all over the game. Honestly, that's why I think this is such a great win for us because their guys really brought it too. Keegan Murray was out there making big plays. He had that huge dunk on KD as well. They were really getting after balls to the wall trying to take this win from us. But we unlike in that Warriors game, we made the plays down the stretch to put us in a position to win.
Yeah, we did. It was a very enjoyable experience for me. I love watching Kings basketball most of the time, and to see our Suns pull it out. Obviously not a statement win. I'm not going to go that far, but it is a very good team, and I'm glad we got the win there. And then moving on to the last game before the All-Star break right here we're having is the Detroit Pistons versus the Phoenix Suns. And, TJ, we took care of business from them start to finish. But before, Drew Eubanks reportedly ate that punch like it was a fruit snack from Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew. All reports say that they reviewed the footage and he just absolutely stood there looking stoic. Did you see that?
I wasn't familiar with this game. I'm sorry, Drew Eubanks. I got some jokes off about our centers just getting knocked out left and right. But hey, he stood his ground. So I guess that's more we could say about LeBron when Isaiah Stewart was coming after him, right? He was ducking it. He was ducking it. Drew Eubanks was ready.
No, big facts. And I like Isaiah Stewart's game. He was out that game for the ankle injury. Me and you talked about it was kind of bogus how the police had to get involved with this. Yeah. I mean, it's like, would he get out on bail? Did he actually get arrested?
Technically, that's what the report I saw. Or at least some tweet said that he actually got arrested and then was just released on bail or whatever. I think it's crazy. Stupid. I doubt Drew Eubanks is pressing charges. If he does, he's soft. Especially if you didn't move, bro. Come on, you're fine.
Yeah, just take that. He's like, did that hurt your hand, bro?
Yeah, exactly. But no, as far as the Pistons game as a whole, it was fun to see guys like Marcus Sasser that we really still like. He didn't have his best showing, but it's fun to see some Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey. Their young guys are fun. I just wish we'd really won this game by more. Is kind of the only concern. I think we were up 30 at one point, right?
Yeah.
Or am I mistaken? And then, you know how it goes. Those things slip away. We lose the fourth 31-17, but no starters are playing in that one. That's just how it goes. So I don't have much on the Pistons game unless you have some, bigger thoughts.
Just the last thing I wanted to touch on was the book versus the refs. I mean, we still don't know.
We have to talk about that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, just a little confused. I mean, that was immediate. That was a double tech ejection right out the gate. Maybe he said something about one of their wives or something like that. Wasn't interested in playing against the Detroit Pistons this game, but I'm a little confused.
Some lip reader people were saying that when he went back to point, he was just matching up or helping the sub match up because he was leaving the game. And when you see his lips, it could reasonably be that. I can't tell. I'm not a master at that kind of stuff. But if that's the case, and this ref is just on a power trip, which it seems like happens more frequently than it should, where referees are just taking matters into their own hands, going, "Oh, I am the law." It's ridiculous.
Yeah, not a fan of it at all. Obviously, it ruins the product for everybody. It's already hard enough for people to watch a Detroit Pistons game at the end of the day. So, I mean, taking out a star player, an all-star, and a former All-NBA player in Devin Booker is just absolutely silly to me. But no real serious thoughts about that. The referees are obviously the ops. Besides Mark Davis, love Mark Davis, Gucci Mane. I love him. He's awesome.
I have a weird pet peeve with refs, especially this year. Is I feel like they're so casual when they make their announcements about the foul call or whatever. They use such common language that it kind of throws me off. I want them to have a fucking script. I want them to read the exact. I want it to be fucking perfect. I don't know why that just. It's just when they're just oh yeah, there was a foul over here, but we thought, it was marginal. I don't know. It sounds like they don't know what they're talking about.
No, I feel you, and especially back in the day, they were I felt very just
regimented. It's the exact.
Even look at Crawford. Yeah, his ass is finishing it there. No, I kind of feel you. There. I don't want them to be human. They're not human.
No,
refs
exactly.
Are not humans.
Exactly.
They're not supposed to make mistakes.
All this bullshit AI art we got. Can't we get some AI referees so we can stop dealing with this shit? Come on.
Real spill. All right, now we're going to move on to the Suns Awards. And TJ, I'll be honest with you, man. I got some repeats because I honestly think the guy that's in this position is so damn impactful. But can you start us off?
Well, I know what you're going to do because I think I almost did the same thing, but calm
down. You almost did the same thing? It's okay, bro.
If I assume. My MVP, so starting it off with my MVP, it's Kevin Durant.
It is Kevin Durant.
I assume this is who you're talking about.
It is Kevin Durant, yes.
But he's been the most reliable guy on the team. Booker's only missed a handful more games than him, but still, it's just been night in, night out. I feel like just the most reliable player on the team, shooting 53, 44, and 87. He has that game winner against Chicago, ton of other game-sealing shots just all year. He had hit some big ones against the Kings and against the Warriors as well. And what leads into, I think, what your point is about him fitting both of these awards is he's also been our defensive anchor. He's got 1.3 blocks per game. He can allow us to go small for spurts because of the effort that he's expending on that end. And he really has been our lockdown guy. I went a different direction with that, with the defensive player of the year for the Suns. But I assume that we're on the same page with KD.
Yeah, no, we are on the same page. And Kevin Durant, like you said, has played the most games, scored the most points, has the biggest defensive stops. What else can you say? Obviously, the honorable mention is going to be Devin Booker, and there's really nobody else that can be in that position. But as you predicted, and you're absolutely right, the defensive player of the year for me is also Kevin Durant. I mean, he's made insanely crucial stops all throughout the year, expands so much of his energy on the defensive end, and it still has the ability to go ahead and make shit happen on the offensive end. I mean, he has amazing rim protection at a lot of points using his long wingspan and length. He's top 10 in the league and allowing the least amount of points per possession in isolation defense. And I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. With a defensive difficulty grade of B, I think it was, had a B ranking for difficulty of matchup. So he's not guarding just bums every night. It's not a Luka Doncic going ahead and throwing him on, you know what I'm saying, Killian Hayes or whatever, just to play help defense and expand his energy. But I mean, man, I've just been so impressed with Kevin Durant at 35 years old, and I just want him to know we're not taking it for granted. Whenever he watches this Right Now episode, he'll know we do not take that man for granted. But TJ, who would you say? Because I do have some honorable mentions, but I think there's only two I could assume over Kevin Durant.
I just wanted to give credit to Josh Okogie, where I think it's really due. Just because he consistently shows the most effort on the defensive end, it seems. KD has been great. There's still moments where he maybe not the most lockdown guy or sometimes isn't making that extra effort, and I completely understand it. And we just said it could easily go to him as well. But I just think give the edge to Okogie in terms of that. I know his minutes go up and down, and he frustrates the hell out of some Suns fans. But I'm just absolutely loving it. We go back to that game-winning rebound that he tapped over to Grayson Allen. Like, those are winning plays, and those are the kind of guys you need. Did want to give an honorable mention in the first few games to Royce O'Neal, because I did have concerns about bringing him on, but his defense has been absolutely amazing. Part of that could just be the new team vibes and really wanting to prove yourself, but hopefully that can stay consistent as well, because he's averaging, 2.3 steals in his 3 games as a Sun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I consider him as well. I also thought that Grayson Allen should get a little bit of credit because I hate Suns fans who've never played basketball before and say, why the hell is Grayson Allen guarding the insert here? It's so annoying. Grayson Allen does a pretty damn good job at as good as one can do. Pretty athletic, can stay in front, high IQ guy, gets his hand in the cookie jar and is successful in a lot of nights. So I just think we should give him some of his flowers.
Absolutely. Yeah, because he's guarding the other team's best guard. Right?
Yeah.
That's very consistent. That's what he's going to do, and he's gonna make it hell. And that's the problem. Sometimes we still get lit up somewhat, but he's going to make them work.
Shit, he'll give you a clothesline if you're getting too hot. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Go ahead and
exactly. He knows what's up.
But for our first made-up award, I have the Go White Boy, Go White Boy, Go award, and that is going to go ahead and go to Grayson Allen, shooting 48% from 3. I did have, the honorable mentions. We had some, people coming in. Drew Eubanks, shout out to Nurk. Nurk is white, he's Bosnian. He's the white boy tactic right here. But man, Grayson Allen has just been absolutely killing it. Reggie Miller, one time on a broadcast, I can't remember what game it was, he was saying that Grayson Allen should absolutely be an all-star. I'm not going to go that far, but this man has been that is bonkers, even for a basketball head like the Phoenix Suns guy. But I've loved what he's absolutely provided on the court. We just talked about some of his defensive eye test stuff, and I think if he can continue to shoot 48% from 3, he was shooting 50 for a minute there. He could even increase it from this point on, but. Just an amazing guy to have on the squad for a team that has Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker to just bring in so much defenders, bring in so much attention to them, just kick it out. And this man is even shooting from deep too. I mean, I've seen him hit a few 25.
He hit that one against the Kings. That was caught a grenade from deep. His legs aren't even squared, and just heaves it and knocks it down. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think he's absolutely killing it, and that's why he gets the Go White Boy, Go White Boy, Go award.
That's a very good superlative. I'm into that one. I like that one. I want to win that one day.
Yeah.
So for mine, it's something that I've talked about since game 1, since the preseason, and it's the least likely to toe up the 3-point line award, and that's going to Eric Gordon. It is my number one gripe with the Suns team. I think is just he chooses to be deep. It's not a need thing. Steph shoots deep threes because when he's off the dribble and he catches it from far, dude, you're just a catch and shoot guy. Get closer, please. And I even pulled the numbers because hey, maybe it's just my eye test is just wrong and this is what I remember. But he takes 4.6 shots a game from over 25 feet. So the 3-point line is 23.9. So all of those, he's a foot and a half back every time. He only takes 1.6 shots from 20 to 24 feet, like a normal kind of deep range. And his next highest is 2.4 from less than 5 feet. That's how many shots he takes a game. So 46% of his shots are from over 25 feet. And it boggles my mind. Just please, just get a little closer, brother, please.
I don't know if anybody else rivals that award except maybe Trey Young, and that's obviously this is a Phoenix Sun award, but like in the league, he might win that award for the league.
It's insane, dude. I don't get it.
I love that. All right, so my next one is most likely to be on the chopping block in an early playoff exit. Do you have any guesses right here, TJ? Just off the top of your head?
Frank Vogel?
It is Frank Vogel. And, I mean, my only honorable mention was anyone not named Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. But Frank Vogel has had a lot of question marks this season. I mean, even when we both went to see our in-person games you saw in Atlanta, it didn't look like there was a ton of respect factor that was given to Frank Vogel from our star players. And, I mean, can we blame them? I mean, some of the rotations are absolutely atrocious, it seems, at points. You know, sitting Devin Booker for incredibly too long or sitting KD for too long and then just playing them the entire second half. Or, you know, it just kind of throws me off a little bit. And I think that he will be the main scapegoat if this team does not make it this year.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's I hear you, and that's how it's going to be when you have this much talent on the roster. You got to figure it out, and as long as it's not a flame out, if it is just a really competitive series, I'm fine running it back. I don't think having a lot of coach turnover is a good thing. Period. Yeah. So sometimes just having a steady hand at the wheel is the best thing that you can have. But I hear you. If it looks ugly, his job is definitely not safe. And so for my other award, this was to get one of our guys involved who I was just a little worried I might not get a chance to talk about as much. And it's the most likely to give someone a welcome to the NBA moment, and that's Devin Booker. Hey. Honorable mention to Yusuf Nurkic. I thought of giving it to him just for all those young centers that he just bullies. That he's just like, there's somebody's going to be on a podcast in 20 years like, bro, I took a Nurkic shoulder to the chest. And I lost. Like they got the wind knocked out of me. But no, it's got to be Devin Booker because of just the level of craftiness that he has added to his game. And this is a guy who's been an elite scorer since he started. He was consistently like, the youngest guy to score 1,000 points, 2,000, all those kind of metrics. He was always near the top in those. But the way that he uses those shoulder bumps too on his fadeaways just to absolutely school guys. And I think and he'll give you a smile going the other way. So I think that is just... I just wanted to give him some more credit while we were on the topic.
No, he absolutely deserves it. And like I said, he's in all these honorable mentions. But Devin Booker is definitely that kind of guy to give you a welcome to the NBA moment. I mean, the high post, jabs, pump fake. I mean, there was a beautiful, beautiful video. I can't remember who it was, but somebody had made an edit to, I think it was Father Stretch My Hands, but it was just a hard drive by Devin Booker. Chris it was against the Kings. But he got Davion Mitchell with a little cross, got to the half mile. Oh my God, the free throw line. He hit him with the pump fake, had him flying, hit him with the second pump fake. Sabonis went flying and just hit him with the third shot jumper. And I'm just like, man, like, who else is doing that in the league right now? And it was so necessary. Like, it wasn't like a Kobe 4 pump fakes and just shoot over, bro. That didn't jump the all 4 pump fakes. It was just like beautiful craftiness, just as you said. And I think he absolutely is deserving of that award. And for my last award right here, I got the biggest fan favorite. And it's Bol Bol. I mean, every single game that you go to, if Bol Bol gets in that arena, it is roaring. I can guarantee you that much. I mean, every game I've been to, every game one of my friends has been to, they said the same thing. When he checks in, when he gets a block, or when he gets a bucket, the crowd goes ape shit. And I'm not sure exactly why. I love me some Bol Bol too, but hey, I think it's just because he's an anomaly-looking figure, and there's a lot of hope that he could still be something one day, even with him, getting a little bit older. It has been a minute since Bol Bol has been in the league. I think everybody forgets, but man, yeah, I think he's got fan favorite.
I agree. It does seem like that. He gets the cheers as soon as he checks in. It was really cool when we played in Washington, just because that's where Newt Bowl played most of his career, and they were going absolutely crazy for him. So love to see that. Sometimes you get a little worried about it, that being a distraction. Like, it was a little annoying. I could feel Celtics players might get annoyed when crowds were chanting for Taco Fall near the end of games. But so hopefully it doesn't get into that part, because he is a contributor on this team and we need him to be a contributor if we're going to compete. But absolutely love that one as well.
There we go. All right. Do you have any more awards to go, or are we good there?
My last one is, I guess technically is a league-wide award too. It's going to a Phoenix Sun though, and it is the most likely to set an illegal screen. And it's Drew Eubanks. Drew. I can't. They don't track this stat. I can't find it. So somebody smarter than me might be able to dig it up. They don't track illegal screens, but just I know for a fact he leads the league in them. I watch a lot of basketball. I do not see anybody get called for that as much as this guy does. And Not always his fault. That's the problem with the illegal screens. Is sometimes when the ball handler just leaves a little too early, it can set you up for failure. But come on, man! Like it seems like night in, night out, he's due for at least one.
I don't know. I think I have to give him the majority of the credit for doing that shit because, like you said, we watch a lot of basketball, and I mean, of course, it's going to be the guy who has the ball too. Got to wait for that screen, but a lot of these times, it's like the Gortat screen times 5, like where you're just completely illegally just hitting somebody and then like boxing them out. It's like whoa. Like,
and we know a thing or two about setting a hard screen.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You have to toe the line, but come on, man, they're catching you every time.
Yeah, it's a little too much sauce, and it's definitely something that probably keeps him off the floor more than he would like to. I mean, I would have to assume at the end of the day. But we're about 30 minutes into this segment right here. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're going into the actual league awards, and should be interesting. We got some sleepers right here. We got some disappointing ones, but we'll leave that coming up next. Hello. And we are back with our league awards, and we're getting a little team specific here. And our first category is going to be the most surprising team, and we took this, however, if it's most surprising, just like, sucky or, most surprising in being improved. TJ, start us off. What was the most surprising team for you?
So I started getting ready for this. I think the first team I put down was the Knicks. And just kind of going back, I just didn't think they were quite deserving of being the biggest surprise because they had a lot of those pieces before we all knew who Jalen Brunson was. Same thing with the Thunder. I wanted to go the Thunder because they're much better than people expected, but we still expected them to compete. SGA was a first team All-NBA guy last year. They had expectations. So that's why I went with the team currently number 1 in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think nobody was expecting them to do what they're doing this year. Everyone had a field day all summer talking about the Timberwolves and the Gobert trade. Karl Anthony Towns going on. I can't remember whose podcast. It was. Yes, and saying, "Oh, what we did was more impressive than the Nuggets." Like when they say things like that, everyone's like, "You guys are clowns. You lost in the first round to them. Sure, the games were competitive, but Jaden McDaniels is out. Blah blah blah. Whatever." Nobody was expecting this, and I think Ant is still right on the edge of being an MVP candidate this year. If he really steps it up, he could be he's definitely one of the top 3 All-NBA teams. Could be 1 or 2 if he really steps it up so far. So that's why I wanted to go with the Timberwolves. I think they have a real shot to win the title. They're the best team to go against the Nuggets. So if they can catch them early, I think they're looking good to potentially make a run and win it all.
I think it's a great pick. I have no clue why they didn't come to mind. It feels like they've been in that top seed for so long during this season that I kind of just forgot about like the whole Rudy Gobert stuff being one of the worst trades ever in NBA history. And I mean, some could still make that argument, especially if they don't do anything with it. But I mean, at this very moment, it looks like they're killing it. I think that's a great pick. I personally, I can't remember in my video, I think I had them as like the 8th seed. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. They're a team that I didn't expect to do anything. I thought Cat was going to get moved. Like, I thought it was going to be so bad that Cat was going to get moved and Ant was just going to have a insane individual season. But, I mean, Ant's been fucking killing it individually.
That's what people talk about now is just he's a leader's leader and really stepping it up. Somebody was talking on a podcast the other day about when Ant was a 19-year-old rookie, and Karl Anthony Towns had gotten into it with, I can't remember, he had gotten into some beef with somebody that was talking crap, and Ant, like, jumped on the press conference with him and was like, nah, like, we're not talking about this, this is just, because Cat was uncomfortable with it. He doesn't want to be that guy. He's a good guy, nice, like, I think he's a good star in this league as far as, like, being the face and just being, like, a respectful fellow. And Ant just showing that leadership to stick up for his teammate when he's a rookie, and it's only improved since then, just getting everybody involved and making them feel like they're the most important guy on the team when he's literally the most important guy on the team.
Yeah, and I love it. And, I mean, the face of the franchise stuff is definitely thrown around, especially earlier when they're like, man, who's really going to be the face? It's obviously Anthony Edwards, but you don't hear him just yapping about it all the time. I mean, he takes that with pride and with the idea that, he's got veteran guys who are really good and have been really good in the league for a long time and still able to, give them their flowers. I mean, he was one of the main guys that was giving Cat the ball that time when they were, when Cat had that 70-point game or 60 whatever point game it was.
I think
he was one of those guys.
Yeah, 60, my bad.
60,
yep.
Yeah. That was our Joel M. flop. Shout out, get better, R.I.P. No, but yeah, even at that game, he shows that he cares about his teammates, and in all the post-game little interviews that they give after he just absolutely dominates the competition and locks up the best player, he's always throwing flowers to his teammates, whether it be McDaniels, whether it be Slow-Mo, whether it be Cat and Gobert. It's really cool to see. But for my most surprising team, I went with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who would have thought a team with a disappointing playoff exit and an injury to their young star would culminate into 36-17 heading into the All-Star break? I mean, with all the talks about Mitchell not staying regardless of what happens, it'll make it kind of tough, right, TJ, for him to consider, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. What other situation is he going to be put into that he can actually just dominate like this?
Especially right now, where it doesn't seem like there is another fit. Obviously past the trade deadline, but even looking towards next year, obviously these things can change at a moment's notice. Like we saw last year with the Dame trade request just kind of flipping the league upside down. He's not on the Damian Lillard level, I would say. Dame's a top 75 player all time. But Mitchell they've really put it on. People were not high on them after that playoff series last year. So I definitely see where you're coming from with them being a surprise team, because the 2 seed right now, and who knows what's going on with Milwaukee. So they could lock that up.
No, absolutely. And then you want to talk about the other guys on the roster. I mean, we've talked about Jared Allen the past 2 podcasts like he's fucking Shaquille O'Neal, but he's absolutely just stepped up his game, and I've loved to see it after the legendary quote that he provided with the lights were just too bright out there. I mean, I hope to see him go ahead and step it up in the playoffs this year. But that was my most surprising team. Going into most disappointing, TJ, who was on that list for you?
For me, the biggest disappointment, maybe a little bit of a sideways logic on this one, but I went with the Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
And not for any of the on-court stuff. We expected them to be right where they are in the standings right now, in the mix for the play-in. But it finally seemed like this was the year to blow it up. And a ton of teams wanted those guys, wanted Caruso, DeRozan. Apparently not a lot of people wanted Levine. But I'm sure there were plenty of suitors for Alex Caruso, I'm sure of it. And it just would have made the playoffs more interesting if he had gone somewhere else, if Levine had gotten shipped off. I don't know, if he goes to Orlando, that could be a huge difference maker. But they were just the disappointment in that, because they're just going to continue to be a middling franchise that just boos widows. Like, they're just kind of an old, bitter franchise longing for the 90s.
Yeah, 100%. I love this pick. This is someone I strongly consider doing. And just like you said, the franchise ownership has lied to their fans consistently. The past 2 years, they've told their fans going into trade deadlines that, hey, we're not going to settle for mediocrity. We're going to try to go ahead and make a push to make our team, better and better each year. And that's absolutely not what we've seen. They have made, since the new ownership, and I think it was 2018, they've made the least amount of trades out of any team in the league. The least amount of trades, by far, too. I think number 2 is 8 trades, and they're 1 or 2 trades, the Chicago Bulls. So absolutely atrocious from the organization. They continue to sell out crowds, so they have no incentive as to, go ahead and make any kind of moves. So I think the Chicago fans need to put the pressure on the organization by not showing up to games and not buying gear, because it is honestly getting to that point, TJ. I would be pissed off if I was a Chicago Bulls fan. So great pick there. Anything else you want to add into that?
No, yeah, and like you said, it's either they aren't making trades to improve their team. They're not making trades to get down better draft position. They're just hanging out in the middle. They're just mediocrity. It's the worst place to be in the NBA.
Purgatory. My most disappointing team is going to be the Atlanta Hawks. And TJ, you being in the Atlanta area, I don't know if this hurts you at all. I'm sure it doesn't. You're not the biggest Trae Young guy in the entire world. But this squad is still living off that 2021 Eastern Conference Finals run, and I'm sticking to my guns. I don't think you can win a lot of meaningful playoff games with Trae Young being your main piece and him continuing to play the way that he does. I'll just keep it real. I mean, a small guard who doesn't play defense is not going to win you a ton of games, especially with the surrounding pieces. I love me some DeJounte Murray. I think Jalen Johnson is one of the most valuable and underrated pieces in the league at the moment. But, I mean, everywhere else, I mean, the only reason why it worked was Steph Curry. And even in 2022, Steph Curry stepped up his defense. You could see it evidently. He increased his strength.
He doesn't have to be. Trae Young doesn't have to be a good or even definitely not a great defender. He just has to be serviceable. He just has to put up a fight. And he's had moments where it seems like it is improving. He got that one pick Devin Booker's pocket, actually 5 feet in front of my face. That was the highlight on the mismatch. So the Right Now pod featured on the mismatch. There we go. But yeah, he's, if it continues to step up, but part of it's a leadership thing too. They have talent on that roster. They got Bogdanovich. They got a 6th Man of the Year candidate. They have a hell of a lot of talent. They just, I'm with you. They just have not done anything to get better off of that kind of bogus Eastern Conference Finals run anyway.
Yeah, it was. And you got, if Ben Simmons dunks that ball and it just decides that it's a little different series. So TJ, I want to pose this question to you while we're here. If you had to do one, you're the Hawks ownership, who are you giving up and putting out there on the little bait line? Is it Trae Young or DeJounte Murray?
I just honestly might think DeJounte Murray's their best player.
Mm-hmm.
I would hang on to DeJounte way more than I would hang on to Trae. Because I think as far as you look at like league value too, Trae Young has way higher potential in getting you something positive in return. DeJounte Murray, it's already on the Hawks are already his second team after kind of burning some bridges with San Antonio. So I would honestly probably try to hang on to DeJounte. Obviously, Trae Young has that like higher level stardom. But if you're trying to build a winner, I think that's the way to go. You're getting a lot more draft capital. You're getting a lot more serviceable role players, maybe some expiring contracts to use in some more deals. So I would move Trae.
I think I'm with you there, man. I think a lot of the league would bite on it. I'm just telling you, GMs, San Antonio Spurs, go ahead and get you a Trae Young. Going into our biggest frauds, TJ, who'd you have?
You're not going to like this one. My biggest frauds are the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, really?
They are.
What?
They have turned things around, but that's what I feel like the fraud is supposed to be. Somebody that is kind of getting brought up in contender conversations, even though they aren't totally in that mix in the dialogue. But they're near the top of the standings, got a great record. But I just think they're going to get exposed in the playoffs again. The half-court offense really hasn't improved at all. They were great on that stretch. The reason they went on that huge winning streak was because Allen and Mobley weren't playing together. Those guys, the offense doesn't work. Mobley has not he might have regressed a little bit offensively to what we had seen last year, in my own personal opinion. So I don't buy it. I don't think they're going to beat anybody in the series right now. If the play-in shapes up just like the standings are, they'd play the Heat in the first round. And do you really think that you'd pick the Cavs over the Heat?
No, I'm picking the Heat. I won't lie. I'm picking the Heat in that series. If I had to put money, it'd be Jimmy Butler and friends, I think. I hear you. I hear you on the pick, man. And I just don't want to totally discredit them because it feels like it's also discrediting the Knicks in a way because I feel like the Knicks just played absolutely stellar basketball last year. But, man, you're not even wrong. I would pick the Heat over there.
What the 8 seed right now is the Magic. Would you take the Magic over? Would you take the Cavs over the Magic?
Nah. I'll be respectful. Nah,
you take the Cavs still?
Cavs.
Okay, that's fair.
They're too young. No. The
Indiana?
defense is too good against it.
Indiana?
Woo.
All right, maybe we're going to talk about Indiana a little bit.
Oh, so Indiana might. I don't know.
Who's your fraud?
No, my biggest fraud is going to be the Detroit Pistons. And hear me out.
Yeah, what?
Hear me out, though. Going into this year, I don't know if you remember, there was a lot of notable figures that even on ESPN, we had people such as J.J. Redick and Kevin O'Connor, two of some really big, high IQ basketball guys that I personally think they're very good.
Ball knowers. Professional ball knowers.
And these guys, and I'm not going to lie, I was part of the same group. They made the statement that these guys were going to have a run potentially at making it in the play-in tournament, or at least improving. And TJ, let me tell you, they have not improved. Not even in the slightest. And I'm not saying it's Cade's fault, but the expectation was that a healthy Cade alongside Ivy, Duran, Thompson, and the other guys would allow the squad to build off of something. And now they have to play nervous every single night. Every time there's a little bit of a losing streak, they got to think back to the PTSD they had from all the memes of losing 28 games in a row. And it's been absolutely atrocious to see. And I just don't know where this team goes next year. I mean, are they going to deal some of their pieces? Are they going to be like, hey, we're good here? I mean, I know they got rid of Killian Hayes, thank God. But
crazy. It's another crazy thing to just cut him, which I guess his trade value was just zero. Like if you're struggling on that team, like if you can't find a way to at least have some type of like bright side, like you're just not that guy.
You're not that guy.
Yeah, so I hear what you mean. Where maybe you're right. There were some level of expectations. I think we would have thought going into the season if somebody said, "Oh, somebody's going to lose 28 in a row," the Wizards probably would have been the first pick. So I definitely hear where you're coming from. That's an interesting way to put it, but I'm into it. I like it.
Thank you. And then going into the last one, we got a sleeper, and I definitely went full circle on mine. But TJ, I want to hear yours first. Who was your sleeper?
My biggest sleeper is the Indiana Pacers.
Hey, okay. Hey, thanks, man. Hey, Pascal Siakam now, huh? How do you feel about him?
No, shut up. Whatever. You get it. I don't think they're winning a championship, but I think they're going to give a top seed some real problems in the playoffs just because they can score at will. I know they say the offense, everything slows down in the playoffs. I don't know if the Pacers are going to slow down at all.
Do they know how?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. All they know is how to go fast as hell and score a shitload of points, and they're going to beat you that way. So I think they can easily take a first or a second round series to 7 games. And they're just like, it's also, they're kind of a power of friendship team. I know you made that joke about the Jimmy Butler and the Heat, just they win on the power of friendship. I think the Pacers are built that way too. And adding Pascal Siakam, and we know who Halliburton is, you could tell me that they could beat the Celtics in a series. I wouldn't call you crazy. And I wouldn't pick it, but I wouldn't call you crazy.
No, I hear you. It might be on a little bit of luck. Like you said, the power of friendship is strong on the NBA, as we've seen. And these guys seem to get along hella. And even with the loss of Buddy Hield, who was extremely big to their chemistry and was a big fan with them being all together, I think you're right. And like I said, you know how high I am on these Indiana Pacers. I've probably watched them second most to Phoenix Suns this year. But, man, I would love to see them give someone a run for their money. I mean, with the current state of Milwaukee, who's going to be favored in that series? I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, you want to put your money on Giannis every time, but man, oh man, it has not looked good over there in Wisconsin at all. But I love that pick. Shout out Tyrese Halliburton. Shout out Benedict Mathurin, who won the MVP last night for the All-Star game.
Hey, there we go.
Stars. Shout out to him.
I can't lie. I can't lie. I didn't tune in. How did Wemby do?
Wemby did okay. I didn't watch it all the way either. I just watched some of the highlights and stuff like that. But they ended up losing to the G League team, so not that good. I mean, they lost to. Yeah, did you hear that?
Are we sure he can be Rookie of the Year?
literally, no. But my last pick, like I said, it comes full circle because going into the year you would definitely have this team in contention, or a lot of people did, a lot of people didn't, and there was a point where I thought they were absolutely cashed. I even have a video about it, but. It's the Golden State Warriors, and Draymond Green has absolutely revamped this team and putting up absolutely insane numbers and put them back on a timeline that'll allow them to make some sort of playoff run. I mean, we even saw against the Suns, this team can go ahead and compete now. That they're taking care of business for the lower tier squads. I mean, is AirPods doing something now? He's getting very heavy rotation minutes. Jonathan Kuminga's finally got a little bit of trust from Coach Kerr. Draymond had a whole little spiel about how the silver lining with the suspension is that at least gave Kuminga some time to become that second option in terms of scoring, and we've loved what we've seen from him. The 21-year-old is absolutely killing it out there, using his athleticism, hitting some jumpers here and there, and I think this team, could give someone a run for their money. I mean, would you be all the way surprised? I mean, in terms of matchups, it sucks for the Warriors, but just off a championship pedigree, Steph Curry being who he is, and Steve Kerr, could you see this team beating the Timberwolves in a crazy upset? I mean, would that be the worst thing in the world, the most insane thing?
No,
I experience versus none.
Because that's with the Warriors versus Timberwolves specifically, that small ball might really burn the Timberwolves big guys. Like, we've seen Rudy Gobert get played off the court in the playoffs because of how much they can just attack him on the perimeter and pulling him out in a pick and roll. So that could, and then it's just the matter of stars versus stars. And Steph Curry has the battle scars, and Anthony Edwards, this would be his first one. So we'll see about that. But I agree with you there. They're definitely turning things around in Golden State.
Woo! Exciting state for the NBA. Wrapping up right here, folks, we are going to go into the All-Star talk, talking about predictions for the dunk contest, the three-point shooting contest, who's going to win the East or West. Coming up next. Okay. And we are back. And it's All-Star Weekend coming up. Your boy had to rock the Vacation Sun shirt right here because I'm going to be in Indiana. We'll be filming some content for Sunday, leaving actually here tonight. But going into what's happening tonight, I'll be on the plane while this is happening. But starting off, we got the three-point competition. And TJ, let me read out the names for you real quick. We got Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Lauri Markkanen, Malik Beasley, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, and Kat. And just off of your first reactions, who's just gut feeling, totally vibes, not looking too deep into it, who do you think's going to win?
Tyrese. Again.
Tyrese?
Right? Yeah. He won it last year, right? I'm not mistaken.
I think so, right?
He brought it home.
Yeah.
I think he goes back to back. He's doing it in Indiana. He's gonna be just loving life, just going nuts. I'm going Halliburton. Would like to see a little Jalen Brunson action. I don't know when the last time a lefty won the 3-point shootout, unless Harden won one. I think Harden was probably the last one a few years ago. But I'm here for it. I actually, the 3-point contest is always consistently better than the dunk contest. If you just look at like year to year, we can have some snoozes of the dunk contest, but the 3-point shootout should be it's a pretty good field. I also love that there's some real star power in it as well with guys like Dame and all that good stuff.
Yeah, there's true star power. Like, it's to the point where Malik Beasley sticks out like a sore thumb when you look at the list. But no, I would love to see, obviously, my guy Tyrese go ahead and win one with that ugly ass jump shot. It's so ugly, it's pretty. Another guy I wouldn't mind winning it is Lauri Markkanen. I think he's got an absolute strap. He's got a quick release. But yeah, I mean, has Cat won one before? I don't think he has.
I don't think he won it. He's been in it a few times, but he hasn't won it.
I don't think.
What about the whole Steph versus Sabrina Ionescu? Who you got there?
Shoot, if Sabrina shoots from the 3-point line, we'll have to see. I think if she shoots regular, I think she has a chance. But I think if it's going to be from the 3-point line, it's just a big ask. That's a large distance away.
And that's Steph Curry.
To be honest.
And that's Steph Curry.
What I'm saying. It's Steph Curry. He does that shit with his eyes closed. He shoots shit from the tunnel. So I mean, don't ask him to shoot at half court for money though, for charity. Don't ask him to do that. He's not going to fucking hit that. Do you remember how bad that was, bro?
Or build affordable housing. Don't try to build affordable housing next to Steph Curry's house.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, you're gonna end up in a gulag.
Rispil, who you got, Sabrina or Steph? I think I got Steph if Sabrina shoots.
I gotta go with Steph. I have to go with Steph. Yeah, if it's NBA 3-point line for both of them, sorry Sabrina.
Sorry, Sabrina. Cold shoes though. She got some sick ass shoes. I don't know if you've seen them before. She got cold shoes. And then now going into something that could either be something talked about for months or something that just completely gets looked around 24 hours later. We're talking about the dunk contest. We got Jaylen Brown, Mac McClung, Jaime Jaquez, and Jacob Toppin. And right now, Mac McClung is favored to win the dunk contest with Jaylen Brown falling behind Jacob Toppin and then Jaime Jaquez in last place. And TJ, I wanted to pose a question before I ask who do you think is going to win. That if Jaylen Brown does win this year, will it serve as an incentive for more All-Stars to participate in the dunk contest, you think?
Definitely. I think if people see the upside that you can get from it and just in terms of like fan recognition and that kind of excitement, I think it could turn things around. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Anthony Edwards in one of these at some point in his career. I think he's a guy that would be a prime candidate that with some star power. That's the problem. It's just like LeBron really tainted that by never doing it. And it's just because he was scared to lose. He just didn't want to lose it. And I get that, but as far as giving my prediction for this year, I would love to see Jaylen Brown win it for just what you said, but I have to go with the favorite, Mac McClung. I think the crowd, they're just going to love seeing the short white kid do those crazy dunks. Being short in the dunk contest is also a huge advantage, like Nate Robinson winning 4 years in a row. Huge part of our childhood, watching that, him go to Dwight Howard doing all the Superman dunks. It's tough. It's tough when you're a 6'11" guy doing that sort of stuff. When I think Mac McClung, he just gets that little bonus. He's got more air time to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and it just optically looks crazier when you got a short guy coming in and just yamming out. I do think it's interesting, though, that we've just completely disregarded the fact that every other year we need a guy that's going to be on a 10-day contract to be in the league, and he's just flat out not. He's just straight G League. I mean, even with Derrick Jones Jr. a few years ago with the Suns, we gave him a 10-day contract to be on the Suns while he was on our G League squad, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, I do want him to be out there. I'm not going to lie, but I think at that point, maybe we should get some street dunkers to perform against real NBA
teams.
Go ahead and do it.
Might as well
at that point. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but so you got Mac McClung if you had to put money on it?
Yeah, if I had to, that's where I'm going. Jacob Toppin, we'll see if he can do his brother proud. I know that guy's got some bounce too. So I think it could be a really good one. I don't expect Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine, though.
No, I feel you. Whatever the Toppin brothers are taking, I would like to get a little bit of that in my diet. But speaking about dunk contest, TJ, do you have a favorite dunk contest memory, even if it goes way back or just kind of in recent years?
Oh, I have one that's just always sticks out in my head as my favorite, and it's the Gerald Green, the birthday candle dunk, where he jumps up and blows it out. That was the first one I had ever remembered fully watching and just being absolutely obsessed with it. I just thought it was the coolest thing. I still talk to my dad. I thought it was awesome. People, and then like they're doing the replay. Like, wait, did he actually blow it out? And like they're all zoomed in, and you can, and he fucking did it. And that was probably my favorite. The another great one was the Nash and Amari one when Nash was doing the hitting the header, and then he did like some kick flips to get it up to him. And then of course Levine versus Gordon, really like bringing the dunk contest back for those few years.
No. 100%. Going back to that Jalen Green one, I think it's so crazy how you can't even make the excuse of like, oh, did he really blow it? Like, was it the ball? No, like on the replay, he goes and like it wasn't like a. It was just a. No. And then that shit was so sick to me. Absolutely loved it. The Nash Omari one, phenomenal. It just exhibits everything. The soccer background with Nash, the chemistry between the two. They're just absolutely pinpoint precision either which way Steve wanted to do it. He probably could have gave him a perfect shot pass from his feet if he wanted to. But
absolutely.
Talking about the Aaron Gordon one, the Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine one. One that I think kind of gets lost in the shuffle because obviously everyone remembers the chair, everyone remembers going over the mascot that's on the hoverboard. But my favorite and the most like sexy one, and I had sent it to you the other day, it popped up on the feed, but is when Aaron Gordon threw it off the side of the backboard, caught it one-handed, did a turn around 360 and did a windmill all in one fluid motion. And that shit is just not talked about enough. That shit had my jaw dropped. I watched it happen live. And I don't know if it was just so mesmerizing that I just completely forgot and just repressed all that memories and I don't show highlights anymore, fucking Mandela effect. But I saw it again and I'm like, when did this, like, what? Like, it had me at the same feelings as when I watched it the first time. It was absolutely absurd.
Yeah, no, it brought it back, especially because we had just had some real dog shit years of it. Like, remember when they did that, like, East versus West one?
Yeah.
And it was just like, they did like, oh, it was a 2-minute freestyle round. And it was just the most boring thing I'd ever. And there were stars in that. It was John Wall, Paul George, and I can't remember who else on the East, but like, and on the West side, it was some stars too. So I don't know where they went wrong with that one.
That's sad. Yeah, no, that's why it's hard to get all-stars in there. But finishing up right here, we got the meat and potatoes of the All-Star weekend, which is the All-Star game, East versus West. And TJ, I'm trying to see who's a first-time player who will get, hella try-hard mode. And it's difficult to say. I feel like Brunson in the East is the type of guy to make his mark felt. On that same thought, I can see like Paolo and Scotty going hard in the game just because it's their first time. And then we look at the West and you see guys like Jokic, who's shown he could give a shit about the game at the end of the day. He just flat out doesn't know what to do. He said it before himself. Kawhi's probably going to do everything in his power to just not get hurt. But I don't know. Maybe Shea and Ant are the young competitive guys that'll make something happen. So with everything in mind, with me going through my research, my Excel spreadsheet, I'm gonna have to give my prediction to the East that'll get the win. And I know I'm not repping the West Coast. I'm sorry, but I think the dudes in the East will just give a shit a little bit more. What is your line of thought to this?
I hear you, especially with Giannis. We always see him go like way harder than everybody else in these games. They got the shooters with Tyrese and Dame in their starting lineup. They're going to light it up. Jason Tatum, we saw him last year just go full try-hard mode just to get all the garbage time layups he could. But my issue was you get down to the bench of the All-Stars, and I think the West just has them beat with guys like Book, Steph, Anthony Davis, and Anthony Edwards all coming off the bench with Paul George and Kawhi. So I hear you where maybe they won't go as hard or care as much, but I just got to go with the West talent. And I think Anthony Edwards could really be the MVP tonight, and that would be probably my prediction. The West wins, Ant brings home the trophy.
Would that be one of like the upsurge moments for Ant? Like, would this be like it'll be a thing, right?
That could absolutely be a moment. Because last year, him and Halliburton didn't really play. It was both of their first one. Yep. And I remember them even talking about it in interviews later where they're just like, we just aren't really doing this. But no, I could see this year being where Ant just says, nah, I'm going hard. All you old fucks can just get out of the way.
Yeah. Old-ass dude when he was talking to Kawhi on the free throw line. No, I think you're right, and I think this could be a stepping stool for like, we like to give Anthony Edwards a really high ceiling on this podcast, but the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants, they have those games early in their career where the All-Star MVPs where they absolutely just murder it, just go in try-hard mode in a game that, quote-unquote doesn't mean anything, but those are the competitive guys that go ahead and win championships for the rest of their lives. So is that who you would bet your money on to have the All-Star MVP?
That's where I'd be going. That's what I got. Let me see if I can find some odds for that. Who do you got as MVP?
No, I think that's a great pick. Looking over the list, I would obviously love to see Tyrese go ahead and just get 34 assists or something crazy like that, just feeding the ball over and over. But Man, in terms of the starters, I don't know. I could see Giannis getting another one maybe. I just don't know if he cares anymore as much. Because, I mean, even last year, I guess he was hurt. He came in and played for a few seconds just to say that he was there. But, I don't know, LeBron's probably not going to get at his age. He's trying not to get hurt. You know what I mean? I could see Shea coming out and just absolutely dominating. That's probably my pick. I'll give it to Shea, young guy.
Shea's plus 1,400. So they only have odds here for starters. Apparently, 13 of the last 14 winners have been starters. And Rush and Shaq are the only two non-starters to win this century.
Wow.
So but I could see Ant falling into that Russ category and just going hard as hell.
Yeah, why not? Just coming through and yamming on folks.
His coach is going to be the head coach too, so
Finch?
he'll maybe get a little extra minutes. Well, who knows?
Finch is going to throw his ass in there. I think they get along great. That's awesome. Hell yeah. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Bright Now podcast. We hit the 60-minute mark. Going to Indy, so I hope everybody wishes me luck. We'll get this uploaded before I leave for my flight. TJ, do you have any concluding thoughts right here?
Feeling good, man. Let's this All-Star weekend just leads right up into the home stretch of getting this done and hopefully getting the Suns a championship.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day.